Hey everybody, welcome to more. Week 4, the final week of our Not Done Yet series. And a couple of important things about this series that I just point out as you are watching this online in a group or individually for some devotional time this week. And that is, this is our first online-only series in the history of the Orchard. Obviously, the events of COVID-19 have not only forced that issue, but really helped us shape this entire series being an online series only. And as we completed week 4, I love how we finalized this series talking about hope. In particular, for those who believe in Jesus, who are followers of Jesus, that there is eternal life for them in heaven. We all live eternally. Whether that's heaven or hell depends on what our faith, or who our faith rather, is in. And I love the fact that we have this encouragement from Jesus himself that says, as you look at the world around you, don't let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. And because of that, he says that he is the way, the truth, the life, and no one comes to the Father except through him. As that was our text Sunday, and as Pastor Chip shared that with us, there was this incredible thought in my mind about how we live our lives in view of heaven. With heaven being, for the believer, our final eternal destination, how do we live now? And I was reminded of a text that I want to share with you tonight for just a couple of minutes and then some questions to follow. And that text is found in 2 Corinthians chapter 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, and I just want to read 2 verses for you tonight, verses 17 and 18. And I want you to listen to these. These are such powerful, hope-filled verses for us who are followers of Jesus. This is what Paul writes, 2 Corinthians 4, 17 and 18. For our momentary light affliction is producing for us an absolutely incomparable eternal weight of glory. So we do not focus on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. Now, I just want to take a second and kind of unpack that for you just a little bit. He says that whatever we're experiencing here, Paul, writing this, dealing with all the things that he went with, from imprisonment to beatings to being stoned to being shipwrecked, he says that what we're dealing with now is momentary, light affliction. Isn't that interesting? He doesn't see all the difficulties of this day being more than just light affliction for a moment. And he says that the reason for that is more important than anything else. Whatever affliction, however you're viewing it, he says that affliction is producing for us an absolutely incomparable eternal weight of glory. It is producing in us an opportunity to see beyond now to something greater. C.S. Lewis has so many quotes, so many things that he said that have kind of found their way into our thinking and into our conversations. One of those that I particularly love deals specifically with this idea of now versus eternity. I'll put it in your notes as one of the questions for you to be able to unpack a little bit more, but let me read it to you now. This is what he said. This is from his book, Mere Christianity, and this is what he said. Hope means a continual looking forward to the eternal world. It does not mean that we are to leave the present world as it is. If you read history, you will find that the Christians who did most for the present world were just those who thought most of the next. It is since Christians have largely ceased to think of the other world that they have become so ineffective in this world. Aim at heaven and you will get earth thrown in. Aim at earth and you will get neither. So what he's saying is this: if all your focus is living here, if all your focus is finding comfort here, navigating affliction here, building life here, and all you see is what can I gain here, what can I get here, what can I have here, then you've missed what our aim should be about. He says the light affliction, the moments we're living now are just that, moments. And they are producing for us an absolutely incomparable eternal weight of glory. And so he says then in verse 18, we do not focus on what is seen, but what is unseen. We're not thinking just about here, we're thinking about there. Again, Lewis said, aim at heaven and you will get earth thrown in. Aim at earth and you will get neither. So if all your focus is what can I gain here? What do I see here? And you're not looking towards the unseen. Not only do you not get the unseen, eternal life in heaven, you don't get here either, because here it's passing away. It's not going to last. That being heavenly minded isn't natural for us, right? What we see is what we want to experience, what we want to tangibly gain for ourselves. It happens when we focus and meditate that we can begin having a heavenly mindedness about our outlook. So we do not focus, verse 18, on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is, what did Paul say? Temporary. It doesn't last. The new car isn't new anymore. The new furniture doesn't have the new feel to it anymore. The new TV has just been outclassed by the new model as new things come about. New is never new for long. What we see here is temporary. But what is unseen, that is eternal. We can bring a taste of heaven, a feel of heaven to the world around us if we would bring into our thinking a heaven-mindedness. Not so that we don't experience the world around us, but so that we press towards the world to come. Let's don't be complacent in these changing times. Let's don't miss the opportunities to point other people around us to who Jesus is and what He offers. Forgiveness of sin for here, eternal life in heaven there. Stay focused, be effective, seek opportunities, but press towards heaven. Maybe these have been tough days for you. We recognize that. We've heard the stories. We've experienced some of those tough days. So don't focus so much on these days as being all there is. But as a child of God, a follower of Jesus, think about the unseen. Focus there, not with visual eyes, but with a spiritual mindset, a spiritual eye that says this is temporary, this is momentary. The eternal, specifically eternal life in heaven, is still to come. And that's our hope. And that's what we press towards. I'll put all these things for you to consider, not just the text, but the quote from Lewis, some questions for you to spend some time with this week in your small group, through Zoom or however else you might be doing that. I hope you enjoyed this series. And I hope as we press into our next series next month, we'll look forward to some good times together, whether online or in person, as we keep seeking after this eternal God who has a plan for us. Have a great day, great week. We'll see you next week.